When talking about achievements, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear hard to the core? I bet almost all of you said Dead Space 2, which is understandable as it is a very iconic achievement. But with Callisto Protocol release, it seems that most things Dead Space and Callisto related are actually getting flagged and age gated by the YouTube algorithm, and the only Dead Space game I've ever touched was 3, which is unquestionably considered by the majority the worst in the franchise. So I think I want to hold off on this for a while. However, what if I told you that there's another achievement called Hard to the Core? The game that has this achievement is Little Nightmares, where all you need to do is beat the game without dying and completing it in under an hour, which is pretty rough. What the f? What was that? Personally, I didn't know what game I wanted to do next, and Little Nightmares was overwhelmingly chosen by the lovely community for the next game for me to suffer through. So I'm a man of my word, and I shall give what the people want. This sounds very straightforward, which may lead you to thinking how rough this is. Although a very good game, it has clunky controls, and you almost have to play perfectly, as little mistakes can cost you a run. And according to True Achievements at the time of this recording, it had a 1,404 True Achievements ratio score, which to put into perspective, these are my hardest achievements ever unlocked. And this is a 140 True Achievement score higher than my hardest achievement ever. However, even with all the evidence pointing to this being a very hard achievement, I believed otherwise. My hypothesis for this game is I do not think that this achievement is hard. I think True Achievements is lying. And I don't think that's what's going to happen here. I'm going to be able to do the first playthrough. I'm not going to get her in my first playthrough because I'm going to enjoy the game. And then the last achievement I'm going to get on my third attempt. Now you're saying, why don't you have faith in your second attempt? I think I'm going to die. I think I'm going to die on my second playthrough. I don't know where I'm going to die at, but I think I'm going to die. Third playthrough, it's going to be flawless. I think it's going to be smooth sailing. So the only way to find out was to try it myself, and oh boy, how naive I was going into this. The game is relatively short though. On a first playthrough, it can take around 3 to 4 hours, so I figured that I would use my first playthrough getting all the other achievements, of which there are only 13 in total, not including DLC, of course. 5 of them are for beating each chapter, 3 are collectibles, and 3 are doing random tasks. You get an achievement for not getting caught by a monster, and of course, hard to the core. Chapter 1 begins with a little nightmare of an ominous lady looking at us, and our character named Six, who looks like the boy from It, waking up from said nightmare. We find 2 different set of collectibles, the lantern and the statues, which we need to light and break both of them for it to count. Right inside past these boards, we run into a cabin where the first achievement is for jumping on the bed. Continuing onward, we find a fridge that pops open our third set of collectibles, which are gnomes. But I'm just going to be calling them friends going forward. I didn't have any friends going into this, so these guys were great company, so we gave them a fire and a big hug as a sign of our wonderful friendship. These are my favorite collectibles, as you can pick them up and walk around with them and throw them around. I put my first friend in the corner of safety and continued on. We safely navigate our way to find a mouse hole, where entering we spot the dude from Nightmare Before Christmas. Instead of running away from the monster, we instead climb the sheets chasing after him, which is where I shockingly encountered my first death. Alrighty. I think I just died. I think that's my first death. Okay, cool. The game lagged like hell for that, but that's first death. I also noticed that the game tended to freeze for a couple of seconds at a time, and that this gets annoying very quickly. After getting past the electrocution doors, we make our way to the all-seeing eye who turns you into stone if you're not careful. Eventually, we discover a bunch of children sleeping and find our first monster we must escape from. And since Six is a child and these monsters are 5 times bigger than us, the only thing we can do is run and hide, which luckily is what I do best. I safely make my way past him like the stealth champ I am. There's a hungry episode in each chapter where we must find Six food, and we beg this boy to give us his food and bless his heart as he gives us bread. The Pita of Little Nightmares. Not much else happens in this chapter except we saved another friend, and then we may have went for a little walk. And there might have been a little accident on that walk. What you doing, man? Aw, poor little buddy. You must be so afraid. Don't worry, little one. I shall save you from this nightmare. Man, I might be the little nightmare. Chapter 2, I actually discovered my first speedrun trick. This is called the sink skip. If you climb all the way up to the sink, you can be able to jump Six in such a way that she grabs onto one of the drawers. And it just so happens that I did this first try, which I end up never doing again. I also didn't know that this was a speedrun trick and thought this was generally the way you were supposed to do it. So if you only did it like me, then you're technically a speedrunner too. Along the way, I meet my new best friend, George, who helps us along the way on our curious adventure. Six gets another hunger spell, and since Peter Mellark isn't around, we must search for more food. Also, can we talk about how ominous and cool the sounds are in this game? I am starving. We find a piece of meat inside and a not so suspicious cage. We munch on the meat, and then Long Arms here closes the cage on us, losing George in the process. Is that the child who gave us bread? No, he's getting swept away. After getting freed, the only way to get out is to use this kid's cage to open it. And unlike Bread Boy, we have no empathy. Sorry, little buddy. I gotta use you for a second. If you don't mind. Oh. We get calmer though. After a couple encounters with Hat Guy, we reunite with George. But we were only reunited for about a minute though, as I couldn't bring him up the ladder, but I found another monkey named Georgia, where I decided to give George the girl of his dreams. Alright, George and Georgia, I'll leave you guys here. You guys, I'll just leave you two alone. We played the piano keys for another achievement and find ourselves into a room that contains a minecart, which we need to bring to the other side, and it was pretty straightforward. Oh, I lost my lighter. No. I lost myself. No. I actually genuinely didn't know that was going to happen. That actually got... We run into Hat Guy one final time and give him another chase. I actually had a little bit of trouble here. What you're supposed to do is climb the cage and let the hands come to you until you can pull apart the cage. You need to do it twice, but since I was a moron, I wasn't near the cage part to let me pull the part off. So I tried pulling the cage in a different order and it worked just fine, which ends off chapter 2, getting us 4 out of the 13 achievements so far. Chapter 3 begins with Six getting hungry, and the food list gets weirder and weirder as we eat a rat this time, but girl gotta eat. We run into the kitchen and find Chef Boyardee cooking, and we have to stealthily walk past him. Now in terms of difficult achievements for this game, other than hard to the core, they aren't too hard, but this next one can be a bit annoying. What you have to do is you have to reenact Ratatouille, but the chef in this case doesn't know you're a little chef. If you put 3 foods in the pot, you get the achievement. Again, it's not hard, but it's annoying and time consuming, as this was the majority of time spent on this chapter. We head into the bedroom and find Chef Boyardee's brother, Chef Boyardum, sleeping. He eventually wakes up and we get the key needed to open a door in the kitchen. After a close call with one of the chefs, we book it to the elevator and hide inside the vent. We give him a distraction by turning on the meat grinder, and we grab the last key and make our way back to the elevator, where the chef hears that and runs after us. And I willingly fall into a garbage chute, and we make our way back to find 2 chefs washing dishes, while we do some parkour to find the last lantern needed. We also safely got out of the kitchen via a meat hook, awaiting us with Chef Boyardee, so we had to give them the slip one last time. Alright, drop down because you're not gonna catch me. Oh, I gotta run. Alright, right here, I can slide, right? Correct. Oh my god, he threw a bottle at me! Oh, I was too early. I was actually too fast. After actually making it this time, this ends chapter 3. Chapter 4 is extremely short. We found the madam that was in our nightmare. You do run into a bunch of monsters eating, and they do chase you, but it's very easy to avoid them, which gives me the elusive achievement. I actually found another friend and was trying to take him with me to the end. Let's go, buddy. All right, we're running. Come on, let's go, Gnome. Let's go. I'm taking you to the moon, baby. We're going. I'm not leaving without you. Come on. I'll pick you up. No. Oh, he's still standing. No. The most important thing that happens here is that Six gets hungry once again, but luckily our wonderful friend has food for us. Are you gonna be okay? I believe your name is 6. Oh, there's another guy up there. I am hungry. Can you give me that, please? No. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. No, friend! No! Don't look at me. You know what you did. This is why I don't have any friends. I saw that one gnome at the top. Once he saw me eating his friend, he's like, I don't want no part. It gave me the last friend achievement, and we went straight into chapter 5, which is also an incredibly short chapter. We find Lady Madam glamoring up and discover that she isn't particularly the friendliest person. Hello, lady. Are you nice? Are you friendly? You are not friendly. Got it. Got it. Got it. Sneaking past her, we break a vase, which makes the lady disappear. The last statue was on the desk of the lady, which gives us another achievement, as well as a key needed to open one last door. The lady closes the door behind and gives us a chase that I wasn't prepared for. The chase leads us to a large room. At the end of the room, there is a mirror. And we carry this mirror back into the large room and discover that the lady is waiting for us. And we're actually able to fight back this chapter, as the lady doesn't like her own reflection. We beat the lady with ease, and then 6 becomes hungry once again, ready for a feast. Eating the lady gives us all of her powers, which basically turns us into an actual monster, as we obliterate anyone that comes even close to us. But with that, it finishes our first playthrough off, gaining 12 out of the 13 achievements, leaving us with only hard to the core to tackle. After realizing that this game has somewhat clunky controls and bad freezes, I wasn't actually too confident in getting this on my first try. But I didn't tell my Twitch chat that. My chat gambled on whether or not I could beat the first chapter on my first attempt, and almost everyone put in believe, as this was a relatively free chapter. Or so we thought. I went through most of the level easily and was able to find out that the first all-seeing eye room, you can go behind the light and completely bypass hiding, saving at least a couple of seconds. Oh, look at that. That's a speedrun strat if I've ever seen one. What a god. But then I found out that you can't do the same in the second all-seeing eye room. Yeah, a free chapter. For the doubters. Also, by the way, if watching all of this live interests any of you, then check out my Twitch channel, where I did all of this live, and you too can be severely disappointed by my gaming ability. Now, I did say that I would beat it on my first attempt, and that my second attempt was going to be the one with confidence, right? Yeah, I died in the same room. Why is that area hard? Attempt 3 actually made it past the all-seeing eye this time, which was 10 seconds away from the end of the chapter. Something that I did find out on this attempt is that in the child's cabin, you could actually completely sprint past them before Hat Guy even opens up the door, saving 30 seconds. Now, I didn't have any special timers for these runs because the loading times to each chapter takes around like 2 minutes or so. And pausing doesn't count time either, so any timers would just be inaccurate to the run. But here's a rough time estimate for each chapter. I had a really close call in chapter 2. Oh, I'm dead. Wait. Oh, I got saved! I got fucking saved like crazy! I don't know what to do here. I messed this up. I messed that up, but the gods saved me for another day. Other than sync skip, I didn't find anything for chapter 2, other than just being fast, and didn't have too much difficulties with this chapter. Now that I don't have to waste time being Little Chef, I could speed right through the kitchen area this time. This, however, turned out to be Hell's Kitchen, and the chef had wall hacks. Be able to run. Attempts 4 and 5 were my worst runs yet. I was crushed by a door and grabbed by a tentacle monster in the other. What the Even though I technically died here, As long as it says restart from checkpoint, you're still able to get the achievement. But I went to attempt 6 anyway. One of the biggest things in succeeding for this challenge is being able to know when to sprint and jump, as 6 has really low stamina. Now sprinting and jumping is the fastest way to get by, but she can only jump a couple of times before her sprint is depleted. After 6 attempts, I really started to get the hang of controlling my stamina, and it shows as I completed chapter 1 and 2, the fastest I ever did before. Not only that, but I made it past chapter 3 with no problems. In chapter 3, there was an area getting chased by a chef, and you go down a garbage chute. You're supposed to hide and wait for the chef to walk by, but if you're fast enough, you can get down the chute before he even comes down the elevator. Yep, plenty of time. Now, there was another strat that a speedrunner Birdie had told me, but I was genuinely too scared to even try it. This trick involves the meat hooks at the top of the cleaning room, where you can completely clip through the wall, which takes you to the last chase scene of chapter 3. I was too chicken to actually try it, but that saves a lot of time if you do pull it off. So far, I actually felt really good about this achievement. I felt the first 3 chapters were fair and kind of fun. Now it leaves us to chapter 4, which I thought, since it was the shortest, it would be the easiest, and there would be no way I could struggle in such a short chapter. Well, viewers, little did I know, this ended up being the hardest chapter in the entire game. Specifically because of this area, the food table. This is a run ender because they can easily grab you, so if you're not fast enough, it can end the run right there. I went in with confidence as I didn't know how bad this table really was. Okay. All right. Not bad, gamers. Woo. We gotta do it again. Okay. If we did it once, we can do it again easily, right? Nope, I got grabbed. Had I made it through that area, the run would have been done, as unlike me thinking chapter 1 was a free chapter at first, chapter 5 is actually a free chapter, and chapter 4 has nothing really hard left past this table. Although I felt everything had been truly fair up until this point, this wore off very quickly. Attempt 7, the final hat guy chase wouldn't let me slide underneath the door, and attempt 8, I was on the hook when I got grabbed by the chef. If the chef is mid-grab while you're grabbing a hook, he always catches you. What? I was on the... Now, none of those compare to the absolute gut punch that was attempt 9. I had made it all the way to the table, and I even made it past the table finally. This was the run, and all I had to do now was beat the game, I had thought, but my excitement was cut very short. What the fuck? What was that? Still looking back on this attempt, I'm still confused on what happened. I think it's a glitch or something, and the only thing that I could think of what just happened was that I jumped from the box instead of the top of the counter, which then caused me to slide off him. But it still just doesn't make any sense. And the most frustrating part of this all was that I did it 30 seconds after with no troubles, but on the run that it matters, I get sucked into the black hole. Not only that, but the last 3 attempts I felt were things that weren't even my fault personally, so restarting a 50-minute plus run was painful. Some would say it's a nightmare. But I decided to do one last attempt for the night as it was already pretty late and see how it would go, and I made it back to the table, but got grabbed instantly. I decided to do something that I didn't want to do because I'm lazy, but that was the practice. Some speedrunners in chat actually told me about a strat called the sausage strat. So instead of practicing the real thing, I mainly practiced this insanely difficult strat. You can jump at the sausage in such a way that 6 headbutts the sausage. If you grab at the right time, the sausage goes flying, and you're able to skip the table completely. It's however dangerous to pull off, as if you fail, it's instant game over. That's not bad! I got caught, but that's not bad. After doing almost 8 hours of runs, I called it quits for the night. The next day, as soon as I got home, I went right to playing again, determined to get this. In terms of speed, attempt 11 was my worst run in speed overall. I felt each chapter was taking me longer than the expected time, and I kept making mistakes after mistakes, but I decided to keep going with the run in case. You guys are just gonna lose points. There's no gain to it. We can restart from checkpoint. That's fine with me. Also, by this attempt, I had perfected where the bread boy throws the bread at, and I felt pretty proud about that one. No problem. All right, run ender. Okay. Here we go. Cakewalk. Cakewalk. The real run begins now. We're on chapter 4. Chapter 4, baby. If we make it past chapter 4, this is the run. I'm guaranteeing it. Chapter 5 is not hard at all. Like, there's no issues with chapter 5. The run past the mistakes went well enough that I was at the table once again, and I started to feel deja vu. We made it. Now, I could do the speedrun strat. I know I could do the speedrun strat. It is looking very nice, but if I fail it, it's an instant death. I don't believe in myself in that strat today, folks. Oh my god, no. What was that? What was that? Not again. Not again. We've been here before. It feels like I've been through this. The same thing. The same thing happened. Got it. This is potential chance of losing the run, by the way. I could die to the black hole again. Fucking run! Fucking run! Run all the way to the bank! With genuine shock, I knew that I'd be able to beat the game on this run. But I didn't know if I actually had the time down in this run, which is exactly the opposite of how I felt about any of my other runs, since I was a speed demon on my other runs. Chapter 5 was free, but was definitely stressful as I started feeling nervous about not beating this in enough time. I really didn't know because my recording said it was an hour and 15 minutes, which is definitely not under an hour. The last part of the game was a sprint to the end of the stairs. Once there, the achievement would pop if I had done it. I was a little shakier in chapter 1, and I think I had a perfect chapter 2, other than the piano. The one run I make it on, this might be a time sink. We're running. I'm going as fast as possible. We're going. This is a sprint, not a marathon. Come on. What is timer? An hour 14, but I took multiple breaks. I took a 5-minute break. At one point, I took a 3-minute break. I took several 30-second breaks. One. Up the stairs, up the stairs! Come on, Sergeant! Soldier! Master! Open the door! Faster! Go! Sprint! I did it. I did it. I think I did it. I got the save. That's it. That's it. I did it. I did it. I did that. Ah, yes. Hard to the core. Yes. And with that, finishes Little Nightmares. Well, the base game at least. The DLC adds 1,200 gamer score more to the game, so maybe another time I'll do the DLC. Now the real question is, did I find this achievement actually hard? And a more important question, would I recommend you to try this? In terms of difficulty, no, this was not that hard. Although I did this in 9+ attempts more than I thought I would, so maybe it's a little difficult. Chapters 1 and 3 and 5 are all pretty easy. It's only chapter 4 that is the real hard part of this achievement. Now, would I recommend this for you to try? No, because I don't want my true achievement score to go down. But seriously though, I actually would recommend trying this. This game was just okay to me or just a casual playthrough, but after suffering for 11 attempts, I found a greater appreciation towards the game and actually had so much of a blast trying hard to the core that I planned to play 3 hours my first session and ended up accidentally going 7 hours straight. Except chapter 4, that one still sucks. But hey, thanks for watching and making it to the end of the video. If you want to watch me suffer trying to complete Hollow Knight, then check out this video of mine here. And we are also very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, so if you enjoyed the content, then please hit the sub button if you haven't already. And hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next one.